up guys, James here from HCR, and today I'm doing a nice bourbon review. This is a nice Evan Williams, and this is Kentucky's #1 distiller. As you can tell, Evan Williams, if you don't know, is kind of like a cheap bourbon, if you will. It's still a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, but you know, it's a little bit more low end. That's why I kind of like it actually. I bought this fifth for I think $13.70 or something like that, so under $14. And basically, what I can tell you about this is it's like Jim Beam but better. So it's Jim Beam but better and cheaper. So if you're gonna watch the review and you're gonna watch the first minute, just know that in my opinion, Evan Williams is better and cheaper than Jim Beam. And so for a lot of people, Jim Beam white label is like the standard almost as far as kind of cheap bourbon. But I think Evan Williams does a better job. And so I think I've had 2 or 3 of these now, these fifths. So this is a sour mash bourbon, but I think they do a better job aging it. Really just has a nice, beautiful color for the price, you know. You have to compare this to something that's, you know, maybe double the price. You have some good comparisons. Has a nice deep amber. I'd say it's not too oily, but you can definitely see it clinging on the glass there. You know, it has harshness to it, but I'd say it's still pretty darn good. Plenty of that oak and caramel and vanilla. Everything that you really like about bourbon is there. It's just not as refined. And I think they have a Evan Williams 7-year or something like that. It's like a special Evan Williams. I never tried it, but I can tell you for $13, I'm more than satisfied with this. It's 43% alcohol by volume. So I think Jim Beam's is 40. You know, most stuff I drink is 40, 45, so it's right in the middle there. And I can tell you what, I love this stuff with pipes, cigars. I make mint juleps with it. I think it's great for just about everything. It definitely has that sour mash kind of twang to it. Definitely has some nice rye. I like the rye flavor a lot. But then it has like this, you know, obviously the corn kind of washes over that, and the oak and the caramel notes. I wouldn't say it's a very long finish. Don't expect that. But I'd say it's still, you know, I'm not even putting ice in this, and I'm drinking it pretty easily. It's pretty darn good. Now what I like to do with it, I put 1 ice cube, just like that. Now this is kind of an overkill as far as ice to bourbon, but I let it sit for like 4 minutes, come back to it, and I think it's even better. So that's what we'll do. We'll come back, give it a few minutes, let it kind of cool down, and we'll see if it kind of opens up a little. I always like to pair bourbons with tobaccos. I find that you know, sometimes I get lucky and I really find a good pair. This is Dunhill's Elizabethan Mixture. Elizabethan Mixture. It's a nice Virginia Perique blend. And I think they did a great job with the Virginias. They taste nice and rich. And the Perique is there, has a nice kind of spicy, kind of rounded spice to it. And I think that matches well with the bourbon, the rye character. I guess if you know bourbon and you want to know about tobacco, Perique is kind of like the rye of tobacco, if you will. And if you're into pipes, you want to get into bourbon spirits, rye is kind of like the Perique of the alcohol world. So definitely it should be a good pair. I'm going to let it ice down a little longer here. I just love Elizabethan Mixture. It's probably my favorite overall vapor I've ever had. I've only had like 2 or 3, so I'm not a pro at pipe tobacco, but I do know what I like. Pretty darn good. Have a nice, like a hay kind of flavor from the Virginias. It has some nice sweetness. It kind of smells like plums in the jar. Kind of reminds me of like a raisin kind of smell. That's just a rich Virginia smell. Almost like a cigarette blend, but you know, gourmet. It's really something else. It smells wonderful, and I think it's pretty much perfect as far as what I'm looking for in a vapor. You want something that's sweet but not too sweet. Has kind of like a all day kind of profile. So now that it's kind of melted down a little bit, give it a few swirls. Man, if you're looking for a bourbon, but you have 15 bucks on you, 13 bucks, get some Evan Williams. You won't be disappointed. I'm telling you that much. Mm-hmm. And with a nice pipe, it's pretty good. Still rocking the pipe lighter from Colibri. You can push it sideways, you can go up or down. Pipe, cigar. Pipe, cigar. Mm-hmm. Best 10 bucks on eBay I think I've ever spent. You can check out that review in my videos. Yeah, so I'd say the Elizabethan and the Evan Williams, I'd say they're a pretty good pair. The Perique kind of emphasizes the rye a little bit, so if you're looking for more of a rye kind of profile, definitely try some maybe vapor blends. Pretty darn good. I was gonna have a beer today, but then I was like, you know what? I have a craving for a nice vapor, and I wasn't thinking that a nice heavy beer would be good with that. I was thinking a nice bourbon would be good with that. So um, this is definitely a go-to bourbon. So if you want maybe something that like I have a few higher end kind of bourbons. You know, I got like my Woodford, I got my uh, Angel's Envy. You know, those are like $50, $60 bottles or $35, $40 bottles. You know, I don't always feel like drinking those on a weekday. I feel like drinking a 13 bottle any day. So this would be good with some Coke. And you know, I don't really like Jack and Coke, but I think it's it's all right. This might be a better substitute than Jack, and it's definitely cheaper than Jack. I think Jack is actually a little overrated, overpriced. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, they don't say in the bottle how much it's aged, but I think what is bourbon like 3 years or 2 years? I'm sure they do the minimum to keep cost down, but I still think it has more oak influence than Jim Beam does. So maybe they age it a little longer than Jim Beam, maybe 4 years. I'm not sure. Anyway, I think you guys should try a nice Evan Williams. Check out I love his tamper. It's just a golf tee, but it makes the perfect ash. If you kind of go in a circle like this, kind of rounds out your ash. Anyways, I'm going to keep enjoying this. I just thought you guys should know about Evan Williams. You know, definitely don't overlook it just because it's kind of a bottom shelf bourbon. I think it will compete with a lot of upper, I'm thinking like obviously Jim Beam. I'm thinking Ezra, what's it called? Ezra Brooks or something like that. I think it can compete with Bullet Bourbon, maybe. I mean, I love the Bullet Rye. I think this is close. And that again, I think is like 25 bucks where I live. So again, for the price, is it half as good? Definitely not. So I think it carries its weight in gold. So try some Evan Williams here. This is the black label again. Looks like the Jim Beam. I mean, it looks like what am I trying to say? It looks like Jack Daniels. Try it out. If you're trying to get into bourbon, that's definitely the first bourbon I would tell people to go with. And yeah, you guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for watching.